Am I the asshole for giving my ex-wife a large amount of money I won despite the anger of my girlfriend? I recently won a very large amount of money. I won't say exactly how much, but it is in the millions. It makes me feel funny even typing. It's enough to change the life like myself and my family. My ex-wife is the mother of my two kids. She is an amazing woman and good to the bone. We divorced 6 years ago because I had an affair with my current partner. I was in a low place in my life and I screwed up. She was an incredible pain, but she was a saint. She allowed me to still see our kids, who mean the world to me. Allowed our divorce to be as pain-free as possible, despite the fact that I know she was hurting. She still is close with my parents. She is respectful to me, although she refuses to talk to my girlfriend. She was actually the first person I called after my mom and pops, after I found out I won the lottery. She was pleased for me, joked that I could take the kids on a world round trip, and that was that. Nothing else. As soon as I won, I knew I wanted to give her a significant amount. I do still love her. She's the mother of my babies, and I feel like this is some small, tiny way I can show her that I'm not a complete screw-up. She deserves to know that I care despite my mistakes. She also works a really crappy job in the public library, which pays her peanuts. She would actually be able to pursue her hobbies this way, give our kids a better life between us. I haven't discussed this with my ex yet, but I have with my parents, who strongly agree, and my lawyer, who is very surprised, but on board. Long story short, when I told my girlfriend, she was livid, screaming that I'm disrespecting her, accusing me of still being in love with my ex. I'm not in love with her. We've both grown apart, but of course I still love her for being an excellent co-parenting partner and mother to my kids. My girlfriend is threatening to break up with me over this. And to be honest, I'm feeling incredibly relieved over the threats. I don't plan on changing my plans, but I do have to ask, am I the asshole for wanting to give my ex-wife a large amount of money that I won despite the anger of my girlfriend? Am I the asshole for throwing my daughter a second birthday party after the special needs girl I asked her to invite ruined her first party? My daughter turned 12 a few weeks ago, and for her birthday party, she wanted pizza, a double feature movie at the drive-in, and ending the night with a sleepover and game night. I told her she could invite 4 friends. I suggested she invite Molly, a girl who just moved to the area and is in my daughter's class. I even admitted Molly's mom had told me Molly was having a hard time making friends since the move. Molly has cerebral palsy and some developmental and intellectual delays, but overall seemed very sweet. My daughter agreed to invite Molly, but I think it was only because I asked. While Molly seemed to be a very sweet kid, she was absolutely awful at the party. She cried when we didn't get a pizza with her favorite toppings, and then stole the first slice of cake meant for my daughter. Things got worse at the movie. The first movie, Cruella, was too scary for Molly, and she started freaking out and crying multiple times throughout the movie. I tried to calm her down, suggesting we take a walk to the snack bar during the scary parts or close her eyes, but she was inconsolable. I tried calling Molly's mom a few times to pick her up, but I didn't get an answer. Eventually, we ended up having to leave before the second movie, Black Widow, which was the movie my daughter really wanted to see. That night at our house, things still got worse. Molly threw a Wii remote after she lost at Just Dance and didn't want to play any of the games the other girls did. The next morning, I called Molly's parents to pick her up early. Her mom apologized for Molly's behavior, admitting she is prone to outburst when she gets overstimulated. But she had been doing so much better lately in her therapy. A few days later, though, Molly's mom told me that she can't stop talking about the party and how much fun she had. That evening, after all the other girls had left, my daughter was clearly upset about having her birthday ruined. I felt bad for asking her to invite Molly, so I told her the next weekend I would take her and her friends out for pizza and to see Black Widow in the theater to make it up to her. But my partner thinks this is a real jerk move. He pointed out that sometimes life isn't fair and things get ruined. He also doesn't think it's a good idea to show our daughter it's okay to exclude people who are different. Anyway, I'm a little torn here. Edit. People are accusing Molly's mother of being... Am I the asshole for wearing white at my blind cousin's wedding? I'd like to start by saying that me and my female cousin, who's blind from birth, aren't very close, but we get along well as relatives. She's 26 and her wedding was last week. She sent me an invitation, though we don't talk much, but since I wanted a break from work, I decided to go. My favorite color is white. I have brown skin. I love wearing white because it brings out my skin glow and makes me feel comfortable and confident. I purchased a maxi white dress, nothing fancy, but goes well with my skin tone, and wore it at the wedding. There wasn't a big party with many guests, but sort of family dinner and small celebration. I really thought no one even noticed I was wearing white. My cousin and her husband didn't know because obviously no one told them, but my aunt kept giving me uncomfortable looks the entire evening, and so did my other cousin. Once I decided to leave, my aunt pulled me aside and berated me for wearing this color at her daughter's wedding. She said just because her daughter is blind doesn't mean she's stupid and doesn't know what's going on around her. Basically saying I brought negative energy and disrupted the celebration by having guests notice, by extension, my cousin as well. She gave a lengthy lecture and asked if I hate to see her daughter happy and whether I pulled this stunt because my quote-unquote blind cousin got married before me. I was like, whoa, calm down. None of this was true. I just wore my favorite color and didn't do it because my cousin is blind and wouldn't notice. And married before me? I never thought of that. I argued with my aunt for trying to dictate what I wear because she defended herself, saying I was a guest and should have respected the bride. I left feeling very upset and exhausted from that encounter. My boyfriend said he believed I used the fact that my cousin is blind to wear white, but this didn't fly with her family. He pulled the "I told you so" line and said I just made my family hate with that stunt. Even though he knows I always wear white, but he warned me that if my cousin found out, there's going to be some issues. He suggested I get ready to apologize, but I really see no reason to apologize since I chose to wear a comfortable color that I feel confident in. Edit. What the F? I'm seeing some angry folks here getting too upset over this matter. I honestly never cared about this stuff, but obviously a lot of people do. I just think it's ultimately my choice to wear what I want wherever I go, especially since I wasn't taking any part of the wedding, but seeing how many people care about minor stuff like that, then I guess I didn't think this through. So, am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for ruining my sister's wedding? I, 24 female, was with my ex-fiance, 27, since I was 13 and he was 15. He was my first love, my first everything. We got engaged when I was 20, and about 6 months after, we found out we were expecting. Unfortunately, I miscarried a couple days later. That was the worst moment of our lives. We always dreamed about starting a family early, so this was a major blow to us individually and to our relationship. I fell into a deep depression, and I admit I was wrong for only caring for the loss I felt and not my partner's. We argued a lot. He partially blamed me, and I accused him of not knowing how it felt to lose a life you were growing inside you. We were hurting each other and decided to separate for a while. That while turned into a year. We still kept in contact. I went to therapy and worked on healing myself. He even came to a few sessions with me. We decided to get back together shortly after my 23rd birthday. However, the relationship wasn't the same. He was somewhat withdrawn from me, and I thought it was because he still blamed me. I was so sick, overthinking and worrying. It got to the point where I was going backwards in my process, so I decided to snoop through his phone. I found out during the year we separated, he had been confiding in my sister, who's 27, and it turned out to be something intimate. He cut it off when we got back together, but the damage was done. She was pregnant. Turns out my parents knew about this and some of our friends. I kicked him out and cut off everybody who knew. Well, a couple weeks ago, I got an invite to the wedding. Something snapped inside me. I got drunk and I took a cab to my parents' house where they were throwing a party for them. Most of my family was there. I basically showed up and gave a whole FU speech to everybody. My sister ran upstairs in tears and my parents called me an a-hole for ruining the prospect of their wedding. I said good because nobody apologized to me. Everybody just kept saying we were separated. Things happen and people fall in love. I should be happy for them. The heart wants what it wants. The worst part is my sister told me maybe my baby died for a reason so she could get her happy ending. I'm regretting getting drunk now because I'm not a confrontational person, but I was so upset. Am I the asshole? After I posted this, my sister called me from an unknown number a couple minutes after. She asked, more demanded that I return the ring my fiance bought since it would be disrespectful to keep anything from him knowing they're starting a family. How immature of her. Am I the asshole for making a scene of my adult son and sticking my nose in his marriage? I'm 60 and bad with the whole text thing on mobiles, so I'm hoping I won't be judged on my grammar. Here's the important background. My daughter-in-law, 32, and son, 33, have 3 children aged 3 years, 2 years, and 4 months. He convinced her to be a stay-at-home mom and sell her business by telling her how good of a childhood he had and how happy my marriage was without telling her, which I today found out that our arrangement was everything before 9 a.m. and after 5 p.m. was split 50-50. Sunday was my day off and I was brought out twice a week. On to the story. On my last visit, I noticed my daughter-in-law was struggling mentally. So I, my sister, 55 female, and her girlfriend, 53, pulled our money together and paid for a spa weekend for them while we'd babysit the kids for her birthday last weekend. I was preparing on Thursday evening for the kids to arrive when my daughter-in-law rang me, holding back tears, saying they'd wouldn't be able to go because my son's friend came to town and he said he wanted to spend the weekend with his friends catching up. I pressed her a little and I'm talking a little about her situation. She came clean about him doing no chores, no date nights, and her basically doing all of the childcare because that's what stay-at-home moms do. I was honestly disgusted. I convinced her to drop me off the kids and bring a friend to the spa. I even dipped into my savings to give her 500 pounds to buy herself something nice. When she dropped me off the kids, I begged her to tell me where my son was. After 5 minutes, she told me he was at the bar. She left for the spa while I left for the bar. She knew I was going there and knew my sister-in-law were taking care of the kids. Here's where I might be the asshole. When I got to the bar where him and his friends were, I sat down next to the group and asked my son, "Did I fail you as a mother, or was it your father because we both thought your partner comes before your silly drunk friends?" The post is getting long enough, but long story short, I humiliated him and got myself banned from the bar. My daughter-in-law said she will take the kids to her parents when she gets back tomorrow, and my son is calling me an asshole for humiliating him, sticking my nose in his marriage. Am I the asshole?